If you feel like your brand is blending in, or that people are scrolling past what you're posting on social media, or maybe customers don't instantly understand what makes you different, then there's usually one quiet reason why. And once you see it, you can start fixing it right away. Every day, I study brands that grow fast and brands that barely move. I look at what gets attention, what gets ignored, and what makes people stop and what makes people care. I've been doing this for over 15 years across marketing, event planning, content creation, and brand development. And before rebuilding my brand from scratch, I built a business with over 4,000 five-star reviews and a 4.99 rating. So I've seen what works in real life, not just in theory. So while rebuilding, I started noticing a pattern that shows up in almost every brand that struggles to stand out. And it's not usually their logo or their colors or even their product. It's something much more simple and quiet. And it's because it's so quiet, most people miss it. A brand doesn't blend in because it's bad. Okay. A brand blends in because people can't tell what it stands for. Okay. And when I say blend in, think about an ocean, right? They always say there's a lot of fish in the sea. Well, if there's a lot of fish in the sea, what makes you, that fish, stand out from all the other fish in the sea, right? Most businesses, they just blend in. They're just another fish in the sea, right? But when your brand doesn't, uh, like communicate what it is that you actually stand for. You don't have a message, a clear point of view, a clear reason for even existing. People don't know what to attach themselves to. They don't know how to find you in the sea of fish. Make sense? They're going to see your content, but nothing's going to stick in their memory. They're going to hear about you, but they're not going to remember you. And it's not about being loud. It's not about making the most noise or creating the most posts. It's about being intentional, right? When a brand doesn't stand for something, the world decides the meaning for it. They're going to pick a what you stand for. They're going to pick your brand for you. And usually that meaning is very forgettable. They're not even going to remember you, right? And we don't want that. When I study entrepreneurs like uh, Layla Hermosi, Natalie Dawson, and others, okay, they all share one thing. They communicate what they believe with confidence. They don't talk in circles, they don't water down their message, okay? They are speaking from a firm place, and people can feel that. They can feel that authoritatiness, right? That authority in their speech. People don't connect with vague brands that don't even know, again, what their message is or why they even exist. They're going to connect with brands that know exactly what they are here to do for the customer. Now, a strong brand stands out because it knows its assignment, it knows what its purpose is, what it's supposed to be doing. Now, as I rebuild my own brand, I see how easy it is to blend in when you're trying to say the right thing, or when you're trying not to offend, or when you're trying to appeal to what everyone, right? That's when the brand is going to become soft. You're not going to stand out as much. But when I speak from a place of honesty, when I speak from what I believe about my business, what I know from experience, what I've learned from building thousands of customer relationships, right? My brand becomes sharper. People actually understand me faster because I'm not hiding behind these vague ideas of what if or what could be. Does that make sense? A brand stands out when it speaks from reality, not from the pressure. Okay. So think about that. The reason most brands don't stand out is this: they're not saying anything meaningful. They're just talking in circles. They're talking, but they're not saying something that people can repeat. There's no substance in what they're saying. They might be posting, but they're not communicating something that they believe in. They're just posting. Okay. They might be creating content, right? But they're not creating an identity with that content. They're just posting something, right? When your brand doesn't express a clear belief, the audience doesn't form any type of connection with you. They're not going to be able to relate to you. And so you just kind of blend in with the sea of fish that I was talking about earlier. It's like meeting someone who talks a lot but doesn't ever reveal anything at all, right? They're just talking in circles, just very vague. And then you end up walking away without remembering them, or you might even feel a little bit more confused as to what was that even about, right? So a brand becomes more memorable when it makes a claim about what they do in the world, right? Their purpose, their story, and they put that in their messaging. Now, the moment that you decide what your brand believes, people will start paying attention to it. They'll finally know what you're about, what you're talking about, and they'll understand you easier. They'll know what to expect, and they will know whether they want to be a part of what you are building. When people can feel who you are through your words, through your tone, your decisions, and your behavior, that's when your brand rises above the noise, above this other sea of fish, right? You end up standing out. And you won't stand out by being louder, right? You're going to stand out by being more honest, more real, more aligned with who you are and what you're saying. Right? So when you speak from a grounded place, when you speak from a place of realness, of being authentic, right? Like just being able to communicate and speak clearly about a direction in your brand, okay, your content is going to become easier to create and your message is going to feel a lot stronger and people are going to start sharing your ideas because they finally feel something. They feel connection. They can relate to what you're talking about. And when people can feel something, they're going to remember you. And that is the beginning of brand impact. It's not about fancy visuals, it's not about the perfect funnel, uh, but it's about brand identity. Okay. It's about your message, what you stand for, what you believe, your authentic self, your realness, and then how you're communicating that with your offers, your content, and everything else that has to deal with your brand. Because once you know your brand identity, sales get easier and your marketing becomes more real. And customers will trust you faster. Your message will move faster and farther because now your customers not only are listening to you and engaging with you, they're now shouting from the rooftops and telling others about your business. And now you're gaining other customers as well, right? Your business is going to grow. And that's just because people will finally understand why you matter. So give them a reason why you matter. All right. So if your brand isn't standing out yet, why don't you ask yourself one question? What do I want my brand to be known for? Even if no one agrees with what it is at first, right? Just what do you want to be known for? Once you answer that honestly, okay, your voice and your messaging is going to become a lot sharper. Your message is going to become a lot clearer, and your brand is going to start creating the kind of impact that people are actually going to remember. All right. A brand with a point, a brand with a direction, with a view is a brand that's going to rise, get attention, get attraction, okay, grow with more customers. And that's what we want. That is the goal. Now, if this opened your eyes to how real brand impact is built, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Again, I am currently rebuilding my own brand from scratch, and I have made it a challenge to post here one video every day for 365 days and share a new lesson with you about what actually helps businesses get noticed and grow. So I hope you do find value, friend. Thank you so much for your support. Remember to subscribe to the channel so you get notified when the next video is released. All right, friend, thank you again, and I will see you in the next one.